I'm doing much better than I was in America. I wasn't happy with how things were going. I wasn't happy with the vitriol, the culture wars, the constantly having to put on a brave face for everything, pretending that nothing was wrong. I felt that if I stayed in America, I would have just shriveled up, became despondent, my soul just being crushed. At now 56, I didn't want to spend the rest of my life like that. Good morning, world. Today is the 16th of May, the bright and early 5:19 a.m. on a Saturday. I just woke up, read an article about Americans seeking therapy because of politics, both on the left and the right, and decided to go and do a video. If you don't know me, I am a YouTuber. I have about 4,000 subscribers, so my channel's pretty small. About 3,000 videos. See, I told you it's early. I am from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I left America last year at 55, retired early. I wasn't happy with what was happening in the country, like most of you Americans, and felt like I needed to do something different with my life. So I am now abroad, living in Albania currently, and just trying to enjoy life. I go to church, I pray, I work out, I meditate. Between the gym and walking and visiting different cities every month, I'm currently in Gjirokastër, Albania. I'm getting about 120 active zone minutes a day. So in many ways, I'm much healthier than I was when I left America. I wrote a short prose piece I'll share with you at the end of this video. Other than alcohol is a coping mechanism, I'm doing much better than I was in America. I wasn't happy with how things were going. I wasn't happy with the vitriol, the culture wars, the constantly having to put on a brave face for everything, pretending that nothing was wrong. I felt that if I stayed in America, I would have just shriveled up, became despondent, my soul just being crushed. At now 56, I didn't want to spend the rest of my life like that, so I took what I had in my checking and savings account that I was going to go and buy a house. I just dropped out of the rat race. Decided to see some of the world before things got too expensive, before things got worse. And then eventually I'll try to go and retire in a EU country or Albania, like I am here. When I'm 59 and a half, I can start taking disbursements out of my 401k. This video is both to conservatives and liberals, but it's more to conservatives, to be honest with you. This is a reaching across the aisle moment in my life. because I certainly have friends and family who are ardent Trump supporters, which I completely disagree with. But I realize that none of us are happy currently with what's happening in the world. And we're unhappy for different reasons, obviously, but the fact of the matter remains that none of us are really happy with what's happening. And I think it's important for us to know that, to recognize that none of us are happy with what's happening in the world right now. Unless you are a rich billionaire, industrialist, social media, AI mogul, you're not probably happy. Unless you belong to the industrial military complex in America, you're probably not very happy. Unless you are Benjamin Netanyahu, trying to evade jail for corruption charges, you're probably not very happy. The bait and switch, the untrust we feel for our politicians, them saying one thing and doing another. I know because I voted for Fetterman in Pennsylvania. I'm from Pittsburgh. Man, is a major letdown. For Martin in the DNC, who won't release the autopsy as far as why the Democrats lost in 2024. For people supporting things that the population, that the rank and file of the political parties, either Republican or Democrat, the fact is, so many people are in it for themselves, in politics, in business, in industry, even in therapy. There's a whole field of political therapists right now who are banking on our dismay. As a Roman Catholic, that's one of the reasons why I'm against abortion. I know that's a very touchy subject, but again, I'm reaching out across the aisle, so I wanted to go and throw that out. Whether or not you think something like abortion is a sin, I think we can all agree that if you are making money, if you are a profitable business interest, can you really say that you are offering an objective discourse to potential people who are looking for abortions or looking for both sides? Probably not. I throw that out there because I think it's important to realize that a lot of times those who say they have our best interests don't. They don't always give us the truth. They give us their agenda. They may say one thing and do another. And I think we're all becoming cognizant of that point. Whether it's a politician, whether it's an abortion doctor, whether it's a therapist, whether it's a business who says that they agree with what we support. I mean, it's all a game, isn't it? Can we really trust anybody in power, no matter what side we're on? The problem with transactional relationships is they're usually one-sided. There's probably someone who gains and someone who loses in the transaction. Whether that's a vote for someone, whether that's purchasing a product or service. Whether that's trusting blindly a celebrity, a professional sports star, a pastor or a priest that we don't know the history of. Most of us have been let down by someone or some organization at one point in time or another. Whether you're on the left or the right. And if we can't recognize that none of us are really happy with the situation that we're currently in, that does us disservice, I think, to all of us. I have a friend here in Girecaster where I'm staying for the month. I'll be off to another city here in Albania next month, in June, who is going to go to Texas, also in June, for 4 months. He is doing a work abroad program through his university, and he was asking me for advice. How can I tell someone to come to America when I left? I realize that the reasons he's going are different than the reasons I left, so I have to be considerate about his views. Here in Albania, a lot of people aren't making a lot of money. There is over-tourism in certain places and low wages in many fields. There has been a brain drain out of this country to parts of America and Europe. People are unhappy in many places in the world, just like they are here, just like they are in America. And it's important to recognize that. This is a worldwide phenomenon. This isn't just happening in one place, or to one people, or to one group, or to one political affiliation, or philosophy, or religion. It's happening to all of us. Very few of us are very happy with what's happening currently. This is a moment of change that is greater than what's happened to most of us in our lifetimes. Anyway, he wants to expand his knowledge. He wants to see what the rest of the world is like. I warned him about immigration and ICE, and told him that, yeah, he'll probably make more money in America than he does here in Albania, but that he'll get less for it, that he may be paying taxes and might not get any benefit from them. I don't know if there's reciprocal changes as far as taxation for Albanian citizens or not. My main concern more than anything else is that as an immigrant or as someone coming on a tourist visa, as he will, I think it's a J1 visa he said, I don't know how he'll be seen or treated in America right now with everything happening, even though it's only a temporary situation. But everyone has a right to a better life. And everyone has a right to try to create that for themselves. I can't honestly say I understand many of the issues with conservatives in America. So I won't try to portray myself as an expert by any stretch of the imagination. I, for example, don't know why so many people are against trans rights or sex changes in general. Because as far as I see it, it's such a small population in the first place. I don't know how it impacts or affects people. I can understand why someone would disagree that, your tax dollars should go for an operation. I completely understand why people, and I believe it too, that children should not have sex transitions until they're 18. My thinking and rationale is, people end up getting tattoos and then regret them later and then have to have a surgery to replace it. And things like a sex change, if you change your mind later when you get older, sometimes the damage is done and they can't, you might not be able to go and reproduce, if you're not able to vote, if you're not legally able to drink, should you be able to have a sex change operation as a child? There aren't really any answers. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, personally, to each his own, as long as it's not hurting me, and as long as it's not something that's, again, it's less than 1% of the population. So again, I don't really understand why it's such a big deal. I understand the argument that, some people think it's an affront to God. But every sin is an affront to God, isn't it? Is this any better or worse than anything else? Certainly there are other sins that are worse. It's not my place to judge. I'm just using that as an example. I don't know why people can't just get along, I mean, again, if I'm not hurting you, and if you're not hurting me, who am I to say that I'm right and that you're wrong? Even if I believe abortion is a sin, as an example, do I have the right to legislate that? I mean, that's a different issue entirely over something like trans rights. That only impacts the individual. And as a Roman Catholic, I'm cognizant of both sides of the argument. I've been on both sides of the argument before. I think we're going to continue to be stressed out and unhappy, no matter what group or tribe or country or ideology we believe, as long as we can't reach out to each other. We have to come to some kind of détente. We have to come to some kind of mutual understanding that we're all human and that we're all in this together, even though we've heard that before during the pandemic, and obviously that wasn't treated with total respect. Some people got away with things that they shouldn't have done, while the rest of us were stuck in our own personal cages at home. If we can't start talking to each other with some kind of respect and some kind of baseline understanding that we're all human and that we're all unhappy about the state of the world currently, things are only going to get worse. So let me finish this rant, if that's what it is, with my piece of prose I wrote earlier this morning.
When the world is getting existentially worse by the day, when outcomes are getting worse, when the future looks bleak, there's only really two options. One, be grateful for what you have in the here and now, and know it could be worse. Meditate, work out, pray, enjoy life. Remember, life is worth savoring. Or two, doom scroll every day, freak out, run amok. And of course, we humans live in multiple registers. It's impossible to stay in one register all the time. So we can also vacillate between the two states. And at least there, in this middling state between the other two, we can remember that more than one state exists. Some people are also seeking political therapy, but I wonder, are the therapists telling you more than I've just elaborated in a few sentences? Plus, do they have a vested interest in the very system that is driving you to fall apart? It may be important to remember, at least in the short term, that enjoying life, putting your phone down for a second, having a good laugh with your friends, a good meal, taking an evening stroll are good alternatives. In the short term, even alcohol is cheaper than therapy.
I would show you the sunrise, but I'm not really sure where it is. I guess it's over there somewhere. Aren't the mountains here in Albania beautiful? For my take on immigration, economy, museums, I created a full-length video on that topic. I'll go and put the link in the description. But it's a coherent belief and it's related to this video. So if you're interested in, if you like this, check out that next. Take care, guys. Again, this is Scott, my Expat Life and the Renaissance Spirit.